Hey there, and welcome back to Transformers the Game. Now, I have gotten quite a few requests on a tutorial on how to mod Transformers the Game. And even though there are quite a few already out there, I figured, what the heck, I'll do one too, and cover the basics of modding, as well as some of the frequently asked questions that I get. So we're just gonna jump straight to it. So, before we get started, we need to first locate our Transformers the Game directory. Typically, it'll be in Program Files, Activision. And if you open that folder, it should look something like this. It's pretty empty, because most of the modding you can do with this game requires you to extract the DAT files. And in order to extract them, we need a particular utility. Now, I've gone ahead and prepared another modding package for you. So, all the major stuff you need will be included in that package. Inside the modding package are several vital elements. The first of which is QuickBMS. This utility will allow you to extract the DAT files. Also included is the TT Games BMS script. This is what you need to actually get QuickBMS to extract the DAT files. And one final file I included in the package is the updated CREATURES.CFG. This was a file that was included with Sunray's alternative mod, and I am including it here because it has everything set up as far as characters go. I'll get into the details of that later, but for now, let's go take our QuickBMS and find some place sensible to store it. I just place it in its own folder in the program files, but you can place it wherever you want. With that out of the way, let's open up QuickBMS and select your TT Games BMS script. Now we can extract our first DAT file. So, browse to your Transformers the Game directory and select the Transformers low DAT file first. And you're going to save it right here in your Transformers the Game directory. Click Save, and it will begin extracting. Once it's finished, you can close that down for the moment. And if you take a look at your Transformers the Game directory now, you will see several new subfolders inside. This is what opens the door to modding. Now, before we extract the high-res DAT file, take the low-res one out. You could put it right outside, but it needs to be off. Otherwise, you're going to have a asset conflict with the low-res assets being loaded, despite the high-res assets being present. Now, with that taken care of, let's go extract the high-res DAT file. So, go back to QuickBMS, and select your TT Game script again, return to your Transformers the Game directory, and select the high-res DAT file, and save it in the same spot. You will get a notification displaying some already existing files, just replace all of them. And once all the high-res assets are extracted, you can close QuickBMS down, and return to your Transformers the Game directory. You are now officially set to start modding. Now that we have everything extracted, let me run through some of the new folders that have been made available. In audio, you originally had the dialogue and music, I think, but now we have sound effects, which has all this: UI elements, bullet impacts, ricochets, character sounds, your walks, transformations, all that stuff, and so on and so forth. We also have our chars folder, which is probably one of the folders you'll be messing with the most. It contains all the details for character setup and what have you. You can see everyone listed here. You got your CFG files. Yeah, there's a lot there. Inside a specific character folder, you'll have the AN-free animation files, and the GHG, which are the character model files. And there's also levels, which is probably the one you'll be messing with the most. It gives you a folder for each location, let's go have a look at one and see what's up. Inside you got all this stuff. Ones to take note of are the CREATURES.CFG and Level.CFG. You also have your AI folder, which has your chapters and submissions, as well as the hub file. And I believe that is the most important stuff to mention. So, now that we have everything extracted, head back to your modding package and grab the CREATURES.CFG. You're going to want to take that and paste it into every folder you see here. Every single one. Because if you're looking to do some character modding, you're going to want a CREATURES.CFG file that has everybody loaded. Because if you don't, you will potentially crash upon starting the level because the files you need are not loaded. In fact, let's open up our CREATURES.CFG and take a look at it. Most of the files you will find for Transformers the game can be opened with a text editor like WordPad. So, let me open up CREATURES.CFG. And this is what you will see. And the reason you want this file is because it's got every character-related CFG file loaded. So you can easily play as any character you want on any level. Most of the characters come with free files. A robot file, a car/vehicle file, and a Tran file. All those are needed for a character to work properly. Okay, now that we've covered that, let me just quickly identify what each folder is. Airbase is naturally Starscream's level. Auto City Boss is obviously Optimus Prime's level. Barricade Tranquility, pretty self-explanatory. Blackout Tranquility is a unused map. City is the Autobot version of the city. I don't know what that is. Cybertron is the Autobot Cybertron. Cybertron Decepticon, obviously. Decon City is Megatron Boss Fight. Demo Tranquility is the Suburbs map. Hoover Interior is level 3 inside Hoover Dam. In the City is the Decepticon City map. Qatar is Blackout's level. And Tranquility 2 is the second Autobot level. But let's take a more in-depth look at some of the more critical files. We've already covered the CREATURES.CFG file, so let's move on to the Level.CFG file. This contains a whole bunch of information that, for the most part, you're not going to need to worry about. The only bit you're going to want to take notice of is this section right here. These list characters that are going to appear in the level, most notably in the hub portion of the level. So Bumblebee is the character you play as, and Swindle is, of course, the default hub drone. So really, the only bit to mention is that if you want different drones in the hub, you would change this. And you would probably do the same here. This is what I have always done, and it's always worked for me. But that's all that. You can also change the start character, and as well as the controller screen. Like I said, there's a lot here. I can run that into more detail later. And another file you're going to want to look into is the hub file, which in this case is Auto1 hub. This is what controls the basic hub you spawn into. Most of this you don't need to mess with. But this section right here, these 4 names indicate what character will spawn after each chapter. So by default you have Bumblebee, 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 because it's all Bumblebee. 1 for after each chapter. Now, if you want to swap another character, you would just take out this name and throw in the name of whatever character you wanted. You do not have to change this in the level CFG. You could just change it right here, and you will be fine. So naturally, if you've already finished the game, you're just going to want to modify the final name, because that's really the only one that will be affected. Now, one final thing you might be interested in is if you want to change the drones that spawn in the hub, you can do that right here. You first of all have your max alive number, and you can mess around with that. I don't know what the maximum number is, maybe 5? I'm not totally sure. I think I've gone to at least 5 myself. But the type of drone you have is drone default. So if you want a different drone, you can change that name to whatever you want. But I believe you have to change the data in the level CFG as well. You can also make similar modifications to chapters. I won't really be covering this here, but it's basically the same principle of what I just showed you. You would basically just change these names down below. Wherever you see data of a name, that can be swapped out to whoever you want. This is just the basics, which I think is what most of you are probably going to want. Okay, I think that's all the really important stuff I can mention. But just for the heck of it, why don't I show you a full-on swap just so you guys get the idea. So, let's start by heading to our hub file, find Bumblebee's name, select the last name, and just for simplicity, let's make it Barricade. Now, let's change our drones up. Let's make it drone default A, and change our max alive to 5. Yeah, that seems good. Save it. That takes care of our hub file, but don't forget to head to the level CFG as well. So, let's head right here and add a undertone and an A. And I'm just going to do it here just in case. It's what I've always done. And let's save it. And we can close that down. In addition to setting up another character and swapping drones, I've also gotten a lot of questions as to how I make the maps to be clear of any pedestrians or traffic. Well, that's pretty simple. First, let's deal with the traffic. You see the two files Traffic CFG and Traffic NG? Take them off. Just take them out of the folder. Doing that will disable the traffic from appearing in whatever level you're playing. Now, for the pedestrians, that's pretty simple as well. Open up your CREATURES.CFG and take notice of this section right here. This lists all the pedestrians that appear in-game. So there's a couple options you could try. You could put a semicolon before each name and cancel it from ever appearing in-game. Or, if you're like me and just don't care about pedestrians, take them all out. Which I'm totally fine with. I don't like playing with pedestrians because they're kind of annoying. But yeah, do that. Pedestrians will be gone. And you should now have a completely clear map. And there's also one other thing that's really annoying. The speech that occurs at the start of each level. How do you get rid of that? That is pretty simple as well. Head to your A1 folder, open your hub file, and search for speech. Yeah, this line right here. All you gotta do is put a semicolon right in front of it. And you will no longer have to listen to Optimus banter to you whenever you start a level. Of course, this is just for the first line when you arrive, but considering most of you are probably going to be modding after you've beaten the game, you won't need to worry about that. And that pretty much sets up that. Let's hop in game and see how everything turns out. Alright, well, here we are as Barricade. Well, I don't really see anyone. Nope, not a soul to be found. And I don't hear Prime speaking either. Well, alright, let's go see if those drone changes worked. Yep, we now have 2 of them. Everything is working just as planned. Yeah. Hey. Ugh. Batter up. I'm just gonna batter up. Batter up. Stop it! Ugh. Yeah. Coward. You coward. Guess so. Batter up. Hey, dude. Whoa! Huh. That bot had some skill, didn't he? Right, yeah, but that... What that? I want the hot dog. Nah. But yeah. Everything worked just right. So you can now have clear maps and change drones to whatever you want. Right, well, there's a couple more things you might be interested in, so I'll head off and cover those real quick. Another particular mod you might be interested in is one I use to get closer shots of characters, and that is pretty simple stuff as well. So, to do that, head to your jars folder, and for simplicity's sake, let's just do this for Swindle, or Drone Default. So, for that, we're first going to want to locate CFG, because he's got the lowest camera angle of any character. So we're just going to want to rename this to Scorponok A for now, just so we have an original left intact. Now, we're going to want to head back up and find Drone Default CFG. Copy that, and rename it to Scorponok CFG. Just like that. Now, we're going to want to open it up with a text editor and change the name in the character line to Scorponok. Save it, and that's it. This will load Swindle in place of Scorponok, but it will retain the same camera angle as Scorponok. So that's it for that. You do not need to change anything else. But we need to make sure that the game is set to load Scorponok at the hub. So, let's return to our Demo Tranquility and A1 folder, open our hub file, and change it to Scorponok, and save that. And just to be on the safe side, I'm gonna shut these guys off for now, and set them back to normal since I'm done with them for now, just cause. And I think that's it. Let's head back in game, and see if everything works. And as you can see, Swindle has replaced Scorponok with a much more centered camera angle, with the added functionality of Scorponok as well. And he runs super slow. But you get a much more centered camera angle. Just requires a little bit of decent positioning, and you should be able to get him in a good angle. Like that, yeah, see? Much more centered, right? Isn't that lovely? It's of course a lot more practical with the no HUD mod active, but it gets the job done, right? Yeah, he has the same basic attributes as Scorponok, just with Swindle's model. What's kind of cool is that he matches along with the elevation, which is quite nice. And he runs normally when he's on dirt. And he can't transform, just dives into the sand. But like I said, it works great for taking pictures. Now, if you want this for bigger characters, my recommendation is to swap them out with Jazz. So just to give you an idea on how that works, I'll jump off and show you real quick. It's pretty much an identical procedure. So for example, let's use Blackout. We would rename him to Jazz.CFG. I'm not actually going to make these changes, just going to show you how it's supposed to go. And once you've renamed it, you would open it up and change the character to Jazz. But in addition to that, you would also make the same changes for the heli, which in this case would be renamed to Jazz Car. And you would do the same for the Tran file, renaming the character to Jazz Tran. You get the idea, right? You do not need to change these. You can just ignore them. But yeah, that's basically how it would work. That'll give you a much better angle on larger characters. Incidentally, if you do this, there is a potential of a crash occurring right when you reach the, Paramount screen, I think. That is a result of this swap. I think it occurs when you have, a couple of characters that have the swap going on, I believe. It's something like that. So if you encounter a crash when you reach the Paramount screen, it's a result of this mod. So just put your files back to normal and everything should be fine. Now, for one final thing I'm sure you'll want to know, and that is playing as other characters on Cybertron, because it's a little bit different. Well, what you do for that is you would head to your levels, and we'll just go Autobot Cybertron for this. You're going to want to go to Level CFG, and you will find your main character right here, Optimus Prime. So let's say we want to play as, let's go Ironhide. So we'll put in his name, and change his vehicle tag from car to V, because it's named differently. And you could change Start Char to Ironhide as well, and do the same thing for this. And that should set him up. And additionally, if you want to be able to transform, just take out the No Transforms line. It's a strange thing, but that's all you gotta do. And that should set Ironhide up properly. Let's just hop in game and see if it worked. And here we are on Cybertron as Ironhide. And we can transform! Ain't that something? Yeah, pretty cool, right? So, in the words of Breakdown, that's how you do that. But I think that should cover most, if not all, of the more basic questions you had regarding Transformers the Game modding. Hopefully, you all found this useful, and if you're looking to install the alternative mod, just copy and replace the assets it tells you to, but make sure you've got backups, because if you don't, you can always just re-extract the assets again, but it's just easier to have backups. Take the alternative mod stuff, replace everything it says to replace, you'll be good to go. But yeah, that should do it for this video. More Transformers the Game stuff is on the way, and I will see you all in the next episode. Have fun, and be good, my dude.